Please call the medic, this beat came to me on a stretcher. In the lab, I step to the mic and feel like I'm Dexter. I'm a man, dark world, but I'm still shining like treasure. Yeah, I got joy like ha ha ha. Wait, and I can't wear smiles, that's fake. Then I'm between love and strong. Hate clock says no time for mistakes. Ring the alarm, sirens go off, but I'm calm. My life resides in his palm. Submit to my pops, respect for my mom. Honor them both, so my life will be long. Third time, get the charm of the third strike. Had to.
What's going on, drivers? Welcome to Trucking with Ole Snapper, and I am Ole Snapper. Anyway, I'm going to tell an old story today. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff the YouTubers like to say. This story comes from before I started driving trucks. I was working for Greg Industrial Insulators was the actual name of the company. They were bought out by Brand Scaffolding or Brand something here a couple years ago. But it was owned by Tommy Merritt, who at the time was a state representative. And he had several different companies that were under the umbrella of Greg Industrial Insulators, GII, in Longview, Texas, over off of Estes Parkway. There was M Optic, which was a commercial electrical company. Of course, there was the insulators, industrial insulators. They did pipe and different things like that in the chemical refineries. Then there was Heat Tracing, which was the department I worked in, and that was electric and steam in the refineries as well. And I believe there was a scaffolding company also that was a part of them as well. I'm not real sure. But anyway, if we were slow in one department, we would go help on jobs that other departments had going on. So one year it was slow in electrical, so they had us heat tracing guys helping the commercial electricians. Since we already know electrical, it just works, right? So they had me on a job over in Kilgore doing a warehouse. And that's Kilgore, Texas, for some of you that don't know. It's right off I-20. And we were doing this warehouse job, doing the lighting and AC work, all that stuff out there, doing the electrical, all the wiring for all that. So I was out there helping them guys on that, kind of just getting my hours, staying busy until another heat trace job came up. Well, one day, just before lunch, I had to use the restroom. Had to go drop a deuce. So I head out to this porta-john, right? They had a set of porta-johns that was right by the entranceway into the parking lot of this warehouse we were wiring up. And I take a seat in one of them porta-johns and I smoke a cigarette and I drop a deuce. I think cell phones had just come out or cell phones have been around a while already. But because I was playing on my phone. I was sitting there playing on my phone and all that, right? Well, I wipe my tail in and I hop up like normal. And I don't know why I do this. And I don't know if some of you do this as well. But for some reason, I turned around and I looked down. I guess I wanted to see how my deuce was. I'd check it out. You know, I had been there a minute. Felt like I lost about 5 pounds. Well, when I looked down, I see this huge pile of worms, or it looked like worms. It could have been anything, but it was a huge pile, like the size of a softball, maybe, or a little bigger than a softball. And I immediately just got sick to my stomach, kind of dizzy, in shock. Stood there for a minute looking at it, just in total shock. Well, I walk out of the bathroom still dizzy and in shock because of what I just saw. You know, what did I just poop that out? Am I dying? You know, so I walked back into the warehouse and there was a guy who was working on the JLG. He was doing lights or something, but he had just come down as everybody's getting ready to go to lunch. And he looks at me and says, "Hey man, are you all right?" Apparently my face was just white, like ghost white. And I didn't feel good at all. I told him, I said, "No, I don't feel good." Asked him where the foreman was. I went and talked to the foreman, told him, "Man, I ain't feeling good. I'm going to go home and probably go see the doctor." I don't tell him what I saw in the bathroom, right? Or what I saw in the porta-john. So I leave. I go back to Longview. I go home. And I ended up going to the doctor later that evening. And I wasn't feeling good still. Like, I had all the symptoms. I thought I was dying. So I go to the doctor. They do their thing. They check me out. He says, and I tell him the story. And he says, I don't know, but I can't find anything wrong with you. So I'm unsure of what the situation is, but you're fine. You're not dying. You're fine. So, all right. So I feel better now. Maybe there was something I ate that was bad, right? Maybe there was something in it. Who knows? I go back to work the next day. Well, we're all standing around out front like construction workers do in the mornings, smoking a cigarette and BSing, talking about the girls or whatever, talking about the bar or whatever we had going on the night before. Just normal construction worker talk. I kind of missed that, actually. But anyway, one of the guys asked me, they're like, hey, man, what happened to you yesterday, dude? You look totally different when you came back after using the restroom. You look a lot of the guys are worried about you. Well, I broke down. I told them the story. I said, look, man, when I went out there to use the restroom, and I got up off the porta-john and I saw this big old pile of worms. And instantly, everybody starts laughing. Well, in my mind, me being the way I am, I'm thinking, all right, somebody just set me up. Because they're all laughing. Somebody just set me up. So I'm starting to get mad. And one of the guys goes, no, man, don't get mad. Look, he said that those porta-johns are sitting out there on the edge of the lot. They're right by the dirt. Or I think they were sitting on top of dirt. Because the lot wasn't paved yet. It had caliche or some crap down they put down before they pour concrete. And he said those worms or whatever they are, he said they come up from the ground and they get into those porta-johns and they eat the crap that is in the water in the porta-john. He said, so you didn't poop that out, man. It came up from the ground. But for the longest, those guys wouldn't let me go with that, man. They jacked with me about that for a long time. And it was funny. But I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, and we were BSing about old times, and that story came up, and I thought, you know what? I'm always on here kind of talking about trucking and different stuff like that. We'll break up the monotony, and tell an old goofy story about Ole Snapper and the time he thought he was dying. Thought he pooped out a whole softball of worms. But anyway, if you're on a construction job this morning and you're sitting on the toilet, be careful, because there may be a pile of worms in there, and don't panic like I did. Y'all take care, stay safe, and let's keep trucking.
Please call the medic. This beat came to me on a stretcher. In the lab, I step to the mic and feel like I'm Dexter. I'm a man, dark world, but I'm still shining like treasure. Yeah, I got joy like ha ha ha. Wait, and I can't wear smiles, that's fake. Then I'm between love and strong. Hate clock says no time for mistakes. Ring the alarm, sirens go off, but I'm calm. My life resides in his palm. Submit to my pops, respect for my mom. Honor them both, so my life will be long. Third time, get the charm of the third strike. Had to.